What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to episode number 60 of the Ambitious Vet Show with U.S. Army vet, author, keynote speaker, and comeback coach, Richard Kaufman. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet, where we believe if you desire more, you have to become more. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine combat veteran turned passion-driven entrepreneur. On this show, I dive into the trenches with today's top military veteran thought leaders and influencers who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military ambitious vet, but really make an impact. You're going to hear their stories, their failures, and even some golden grenades that are going to empower you to actually on what matters most in your life right now. Want to be your own boss? Tired of the same old, highly routine, structured lifestyle with no time freedom or money freedom in sight? A career is not your only option after transitioning from the military. In fact, 45% of veterans who get out start their own business only to fail 2 years later due to lack of business education and direction. Sound familiar? Are you ready to narrow the learning curve and risk by plugging into a proven business process and system that creates the lifestyle you desire most after serving our nation? The Veteran Franchise Group has your back. As military veteran franchise brokers, they mentor and provide their veteran clients with the industry data, science-based entrepreneurial personal assessments for effective matchmaking, company data, and the resources needed from their portfolio of over 500 franchise opportunities to empower you, ambitious vet, to choose and start the next chapter in your life as a franchise business owner. Simply just visit veteransfranchisegroup.com to schedule your free strategy call today, and let's get your journey and executing your next mission in your life. Let's go get it.
Hey, this is Steven, host of Knucklehead Podcast, and you're listening to the Ambitious Vet Podcast with Chris Hoffman.
Welcome, Ambitious Vet, to episode number 60 of the Ambitious Vet Show. I was just reflecting right before we were editing this podcast, and we're in 18 countries now, right? Big shout out to Great Britain, France, Germany, UK, everyone over there. I mean, you guys are really taking on this progressive message of like, look, yeah, I got problems, but everyone's got problems. How do we find solutions and keep pushing the mission forward? I want you to know from us over here at the Ambitious Vet Movement that your mission is just as important as us over here at the United States of America. Thank you for joining in week by week and consistently growing the message. Now, guys, I got to be completely honest. Although we're hitting 18 countries, our listener per episode is still under 100 per episode. So, if you are finding value in this, if you're finding insight, if you're getting the golden grenades that are having you get the landmines that are in the way of you getting, being in action, right? Execution in life, and actually getting out there and gaining new ideas to just be able to be more, precise in your decision making, or if it's just getting out there and, wow, there's an idea I could be doing this in my business, guys. I want you to be sharing this with everybody, guys. We want to be sharing this with every person that it could potentially make a difference with. And if you guys are over there in France, Germany, UK, guys, if you guys ever want to just give me some feedback, I want to make sure that I am giving you guys the golden grenades you deserve over there, because sometimes I know that this messaging, this slang could be tailored towards America, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting what you need as well. Without further ado, thank you for everyone that is joining in on episode number 60. It's been a long journey, and thank you from starting from beginning or wherever you're starting your ambitious vet journey. Thank you for joining in. Sound good? All right. So, guys, today is an amazing episode. Richard Kaufman has an amazing story. He's an ambitious veteran. He's an author. He's a keynote speaker. And more importantly, he's a comeback coach. What does he come back from? He's come back from alcoholism. You're going to hear him share inside of his episode that he started being an alcoholic at the age of 12. Can you only imagine being an alcoholic at 12 years old? I mean, shit, I was still learning how to play with my toys at 12 years old, right? drug addiction, stuff like that, got kicked out of the Army, rejoined the Army, almost got kicked out again, and then always found his way back and got meritorious promoted, Soldier of the Year, and then served well over 20 years inside the United States Army, to now being a guy that's sharing his testimonial to people that are going through that test right now. So guys, I hope you enjoy this inspirational story from Richard Kaufman. Let's go ahead and get it.
Richard Kaufman, are you there?
Yes, I am here. How are you? Showing love to you people. Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored and grateful.
Brother, well, we're grateful to have someone like yourself, man, that went through the trials and tribulations that you did and overcame them. We're coming back and sharing such a great story, man. So if you would, just fill those gaps in introduction. Let us know a little about who you are as a person.
I'll just give you a quick down and dirty. I just keeping it real. Came from a poor family. I was an alcoholic by the age of 12, 13 years old. Joined the military, got thrown out for being a drug addict. Went back in, was about to be thrown out for a second time. And then 9/11 happened. I mean, I joined again, and I was about to be thrown out again. And well, in between, I had a lot of arrests and stuff like that. And then I got back in the military. They were going to throw me out again for just being a total. I don't want to curse on your show, but I was a total asshole.
Yeah.
And I was just about to be thrown out at the end of September of 2001. And then 9/11 happened. And because I lived at one time about 5 miles away from the towers, we actually knew people that were in the towers that day. And I was watching on TV and watched it happen. And something broke in me that day. They say, God will build you up once you become a broken man. And for some reason, something broke inside of me. And I actually just broke down and cried and sobbed. And I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, I'm about to be thrown out again, but if you give me one more chance, I'll dedicate the rest of my life to the people that we lost. And I called my company commander and my battalion commander. I asked for a meeting. And they seen something different in me that day. And I begged them to keep me. And they said, we're going to give you one last chance. And thank God that they did. Within 2 years, I went from a E1 to E5, got promoted to NCO, Soldier of the Year. And then I did a total of 24 years. And then the major thing that happened to me is I was actually going down to do my annual training here in National Guard. I was backing up a humvee. And instead of him hitting the brakes, he hit the gas and ran over the whole right side of my body and my head. And that's why I'm blind in this eye. I don't see anything out of this eye. And I got into a deep, dark depression. And I figured, you know what? I came back from drug addiction, alcoholism, homelessness. I can come back from this. So I got help. I started, going to meetings, got help from the VA. And then I just had a gentleman called Donnie Boyven had me on his podcast. And he told me, because I was telling him about, what I do now is I manage a general nutrition center. And I also have personal trained people, and I have clients that are in the NFL, Major League Baseball, WWE. And we started talking about that. And then I told him my backstory. He said, dude, there's too many fitness people out there as it is. People need to hear the real story, the real and raw story of how you came back and how now you're the comeback coach. And that's how it all started a year ago. So That's a quick down and dirty of my, I don't think it's really that big of a deal, what I've been through, but some people say it's amazing, but God's kept me here for a reason. So now I'm just paying it forward, helping people that are going through some shit.
Yeah. Man, it said like a typical Jersey boy. It's not no big deal, man. It's just like the average of a up and coming life over there, man. But I mean, it's ironic, man, because we go through like trials and tribulations like that, and we get to a certain point of life, and we look back, and it's just like, wow, like maybe it wasn't that bad, but in those moments, it's not like that, man. And, you know, like I always say that veterans that are like 2 to 3 years out always hit that breaking point time after time. Any veteran that I'm out here, even locally in San Diego, coaching through personal development courses or stuff like that, they're all saying, man, it's always that 2 to 3 year timeout that they hit that breaking point. It sounds like you did hit it, but you chose to have a different life. You didn't, you know, take the easy way out, brother. And I think I speak for any veteran that's going through alcohol addiction, mental issues and stuff like that, that we just thank you for like, you know, surviving through it and enduring through it and building more strength to it, because now you're back and you can pull people up and inspire and have everyone come back. So brother, I acknowledge you for having the strength of doing that.
Thank you. I think the hardest thing was the day that the military told me that since you can't shoot, we can't keep you. And they handed me my ID card and said, your career is over.
Huh.
And ever since I came back in the military, my whole identity was being Sergeant Kaufman.
Yeah.
I had no other identity. That was it. You know, like if they ever asked me, anybody ever asked me for my ID, it was always my military ID. You know, that's who I was. And to have it just taken away from me that day, and not only have my identity taken away, but my visions taken away at the same time.
Wow.
And I got into that deep, dark depression, you know, and I think a lot of guys go through that. It's like, you know, we're squad leaders, you know, we're platoon leaders. And when we get out, we're just, you know, we're just a Joe, you know, we don't have our squad anymore.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys go through that deep, that's when they get into that deep, dark depression, because they don't have their battles anymore.
Yeah.
Their battle buddies, you know?
Yeah, of course, man. They don't have that support. So you actually got kicked out, went back in, served 24 years. Now, what did you get out as? What rank?
E6.
E6. Nice. So you were
well, because I was, but I got, like I was telling when I was on a interview yesterday, I've had like 3 field grade Article 15s, and I've been like E1 to E4 like 5 or 6 times. So I would always get to E4, and then I would do something to screw it up to get busted again.
Yeah. No, I was a troublemaker as well, man. I got caught with a DUI in motor TMOS school and was reclassed to a combat cook, and was downgraded to a private for a year while I was in the fleet, and just was not fun being, you know, a private in Okinawa, Japan. So brother, I totally got it. And I just appreciate you for, you know, just having a story and being able to articulate it as clear as you do with the trials and tribulations. Because man, one thing that I know for any man that's gone through some of the stuff that you've gone through is sometimes you could be more insecure, not self-confident, and sharing so real, so authentic, and just so powerful. So, you know, thank you for doing that. Brother, I want to talk about the transition story, because you said now you're a general manager for GNC and you know, stuff like that. Brother, and I'm a huge WWE fan too, man. That's a nerdy side of me, man, that you may not know. But brother, before I go to bed, Maggie's listening to her Brene Brown. I'm like literally watching on the bed. I'm watching wrestling highlights. So
I have a lot of great stories, and I've been so blessed to be able to work with at times like Triple H, The Undertaker, stuff like those guys like that, and they're all sweethearts. Only one WWE star was ever an asshole. Yeah. So the rest of them were cool. Yeah. The rest of them were awesome. So like when I met the Undertaker, we were having lunch. He's like, dude, call me Mark. He's like, it's my name is Mark. Don't call me the Undertaker at lunch. We're eating food, you know? Yeah. So
cool. Yeah. Well, That I mean, that has to make a difference when you're out being around those kind of people, man, that people you look up to and stuff like that. And that just has you kind of, I'd be like, wow, like I am, you know, surrounding myself with higher, powerful people, and I can hold conversations. So it probably builds your confidence with that. So let's dive into that more. Cause I know you gave Donnie Boyven a shout out. For those of you guys who don't know who Donnie Boyven is, Success Champions, really authentic, real guy, bring quality content, one of the best podcasters I've ever seen. So if you're listening on the podcast, go check out Success Champions with Donnie Boyven. Definitely a powerful heavy hitter with that being said. Richard, man, how did you start finding your purpose, man? When you got out of the uniform, how do you start like figuring out like, hey, this is what I really want to do?
Oh, can I just give a shout out? the reason that I wear a hat on every Facebook Live that I do is because I promised Chris Kyle's wife that I would wear a hat on every interview in honor of him losing his life to helping somebody with PTSD. So that's why I wear the hat all the time on Facebook, any show I do. So I just want to let him know that it's not a disrespect thing. It's just an honor thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. I mean, that's one thing I've learned from you, man, is like, you're just really good at, selfless serving a lot of people, cross promoting a lot of people. And that's how we built this movement from the ground up too, man, is always figuring out how do you add value to people that are actually providing value in the world, and then just building up off each other. And it's a whole collaboration effort. It's no competition. And when you have that intention to just get out there and how do we build people up around each other, man, I think your brand just grows a little bit quicker, and it really has. So going back to the question, I mean, how did you start figuring out what it was that you wanted to aim down range on and start shooting at out of the uniform?
Well, what happened is while I was, they have something called medical hold, where they keep you and you got to stay there for like a year, and until they decide what they're going to do with you. So I just started reading. I started picking up books, and I started reading self-help books. So I wanted to get better. And I started reading books by like Robert Kiyosaki, and they kept mentioning this guy called Gary V. And I'm like, who is Gary V?
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of his books. And then one time a friend of mine goes, yo, Gary's at his father's place. So I went down and met Gary V, and we had a conversation. And I just started, thinking about, how can I start impacting the world, and I wanted to keep my promise, to that day on 9/11 that changed my life, that I wanted to keep serving people. And because I couldn't do it in a military uniform, I had to figure out some way to do it.
Yeah.
And then when I got on Donnie's podcast, and he's like, man, you need to write a book. I was like, okay, I'll write a book. And then I just started, the Monday night show I have every Monday night, and it just grew from there. I mean, it's nothing big right now, but it will be. But I'm getting messages every day of how I'm affecting and changing lives.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I've been lucky enough to witness and be close to you around that. And, I got to say, man, I'm really impressed with the amount of engagement that people, just are, engaging with your content, man, because I think that goes to show that people can relate to you, right? That's one of the hardest things online to do, is just be able to build a personal brand that people can actually relate to, engage with, and stuff like that, man. And I just got to give it to you, man, that every time you go Monday night, comeback coach show, man, I mean, it is reliably great engagement, people just getting quality, raw, authentic content that's no one trying to really look good. It's more so just talking about the real stuff, like you said. So I got to acknowledge you for just, utilizing a tool like Facebook, right, to really share the things that people are afraid to share. Everyone likes to look good here, man. You're willing to show everything.
This is it. This is all you get.
Yeah.
I'm the same guy that you'd want to go out and have dinner with and go, hang out with. That's me, and I'm not going to change,
Yep. Yeah. So, brother, I think there's a lot of golden grenades that an ambitious vet can pull from that. So if you're listening to this on the podcast right now, you're watching this on replay, you're watching this in live, if you got any questions for Richard Kaufman, put those in the comments below. We'll make sure that we schedule time after this to go back there and answer all those. But listen to this. I mean, this guy, is giving up being perfect, and he's getting great engagement, getting great opportunities, and loving his life. Where in your life right now are you trying to be perfect? Where in life right now are you trying to do it right? And why not just give that up? Why not just give it up, doing it right, get real, get raw, get to the actual reality of your life and communicate from there. And I promise you, opportunity will come to you, and mentors, income, all that will come to you. So hope that makes a difference for you, ambitious vet. So Richard Kaufman, man, what is one of the biggest failures that you experienced while getting out of the uniform? What did you learn from it?
Wow. I don't even know where to start. Probably is like when I got ran over by the Humvee. At this point, I was jacked. I was taking test boosters, protein. I mean, I was like jacked.
Yeah.
And I got ran over, and then I got into a deep, dark depression, and I gained like 50 pounds. And being in the health and fitness industry, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So now I've had to learn to come back, and I'm still working on that every day, but I've learned to come back and start working on that, even though I failed at that. Because, I mean, when I left for annual training, I was like 173 pounds. Then 6 months later, I'm at like 223. So, you know, and that really screws with your mind.
Yeah.
So then I just had to think, you know what, even if I don't get down to that, you know, I'm you know, God still looks at me as perfect. So now I'm just trying, you know, if you don't, you know, have failures, that means you never tried.
Yeah.
You know, so these people are always, you know, well, I don't know if I should, I don't know if I shouldn't. Who cares? Do it. Go for it.
Yeah.
What do you get? What's the worst that can happen? You fail. Okay. Now look at Edison, how many times he failed.
With the light.
Right? We wouldn't be talking if he didn't keep going.
Yep.
So, you know, if you're struggling, go for it. Why not go for it? There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that, because I mean, I think that's relevant for any ambitious vet that's watching this, even for my own life. I mean, there's so many things in my own personal life that I could easily be making, you know, judging a circumstance, situation, or, you know, other things that could easily stop me. But, you know, failure is what we make it mean, ambitious vet. And it sounds like Richard Kaufman here has changed his relationship to failure. And I encourage any ambitious vet that's either watching this or on the podcast is, what could you associate failure to be? Is it a learned lesson, or do you make it mean that you're less value as a human being? Maybe you are. I mean, let's face it, maybe you are right now less valuable in the marketplace where you're at right now, but where is the gap so you can increase that? Like Richard's doing, where he's just doing a simple Facebook Live, bringing his friends and just bullshitting about real stuff that's empowering people to come back from drugs, alcoholism, and stuff like that. And it all builds from there. But guys, it starts with that next step. So Richard Kaufman, man, where do you see this movement going, man? What's your vision with this whole comeback coach thing and bringing people from the darkness to light? Where are you trying to take this, man?
My goal is to save 1 million lives. And that's the goal. I'm definitely gonna hit that goal, I think. And I have, and the thing is, now I have to narrow. I was trying to help too many people, I was helping nobody. So now I just started narrowing my niche to more veterans and first responders. Because if people that are watching, if they don't know, they always hear the number 22. But they don't realize that on average, 35 first responders, including 22 veterans a day, commit suicide every day. And if everything, when it's all said and done, if I saved one life, then this is all worth it. Yeah. So whether it's 1 in 1 million, you know, so that's my goal, is 1 million lives to save.
Yeah, brother, that's a huge vision. And from what I can see, you're well on your way with it, man. And what I love, you are a Gary Vee guy. He's all about the depth of impact of the power of one versus the quantity, man. If you can get one person that deeply listens to you and you can plant that seed of wisdom right inside one person's heart, I mean, they go and they become a walking billboard for the rest of their life. And if they just use the ripple effect, you've done your job, brother. And I just acknowledge you for being someone like that. So, brother, we got a tradition here, okay? 3 golden grenades that could make immediate impact towards any ambitious vet in any season of life right now that's feeling stuck, or maybe they just want to figure out what are the next steps towards making immediate impact in their life, career, or income right now. What would be those 3 golden grenades?
One would be stay humble. Because most people, I tell everybody, you know, at the end of the chess game, the king and the pawn both end up in the same size box. So stay humble. The second one would be stay teachable. And third one would be find good mentors. Those would be my 3 that I live by, those 3.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it looks like it's really helping you out. So Richard Kaufman, you got a special offer for the ambitious vets. For any ambitious vet that's inside this tribe, what is something that you'd like to offer them personally from the Comeback Coach?
Anybody, especially in this tribe, a free 15-minute health, wellness, mental health talk, either through Skype, Zoom, Messenger, anytime. All they got to do is let me know and we'll set it up.
Nice.
And it might be just I'm not trying to sell anything. It's just trying to reach out, and because sometimes somebody just needs somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to give somebody the answer. You just need to be there to bend an ear.
Yeah. Bend an ear.
And people and people like Robert Garcia and people like Sean Douglas are on the phone with me constantly. So they're always helping me. So I'm always giving them, they're always helping me without asking for anything. So I want to do the same thing that they done for me.
Yeah. Just makes sense, man. It just makes sense. Match and model, one of the best structures you can do to build influence, wealth, and impact. So Richard Kaufman, I appreciate you joining the Ambitious Vet Show, man. You're absolutely amazing. I want to acknowledge you for who you are, just as a person, man. Brother, I mean, you've probably failed more than anybody else I've ever interviewed on this show. And I think you've become a better man for it, I think, from what I can see. And brother, I mean, you're just going out and you've found a unique way to share your voice, share your story in a way that just moves people, in a way that's emotional, mental, and just moves them into action, brother. I just want to thank you for who you are for our community, brother.
Well, thank you. And the reason why I'm doing all this is because somebody once stood in the gap for me. Now I'm willing to stand in the gap for somebody else.
Yeah. That's good stuff, brother. Well,
there you have it, Ambitious Vet, episode number 60 of the Ambitious Vet Show with the Comeback Coach, Richard Kaufman. What a great story, huh? Well, again, today's show was brought to you by Veteran Franchise Group. They're offering a free veteran franchise business education workshop in San Diego, August 17, 2019. If you're locally down here in Southern California, it's a great opportunity. I'll have the link in the show notes below. If you're not, allow them, Veteran Franchise Group, to narrow your education gap and the risk for business ownership by finding your own tailored franchise business opportunity. Simply go to veteranfranchisegroup.com to get your franchise business journey going. Ambitious Vet, if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. If you actually take the extra effort, not only in reviewing the podcast, right, on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever your favorite app is, I will call you out in the next episode. But guys, if you just find that extra oomph in your own life, you're going to find more opportunity in your life. So I encourage you to do both in the review stage, because we're getting a lot more 5-star reviews on this podcast, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. That's what has us get the juice, man. That's what has us get the energy to keep this thing moving forward. And as we already know, feedback is what allows anything to improve in life. And I want to improve right in the trenches, right beside you. Sound good? Lastly, I already know if you're listening to this, you're warrior made. But to become passion driven, utilize this one golden grenade you heard today, and you're going to find your life being more meaningful. Let's go get it.